Hey besties, and welcome to yet another thrilling and exciting episode of the No Podcast, proudly brought to you by Southern Africa Trust. My beautiful name is Panashe Chibata Moto, also known as the Dynamite with a capital letter D, and I'm super excited to be here with you guys. And we're still in the same spirit, commemorating the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. And joining me today is a man that needs no introduction, and I'm super excited to have him today. Welcome to the No Podcast.
Thank you, Dynamite. Thank you so much.
I know I mentioned that you're a man that needs no introduction, but I'm gonna let you introduce yourself to the people that are watching, because we know you for several reasons. You hold so many portfolios.
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Ambassador Onward Gibson. I'm a pastor, but I also work a lot in the NGO sector. I'm the director of an organization called My Age Zimbabwe, My Age Africa rather, and we do a lot of work at My Age around ending sexual and gender-based violence, especially looking at young people and adolescent girls and young women who face multiple vulnerabilities when we look at issues to do with sexual and gender-based violence. But I'm also a communication consultant, so I work with a lot of organizations locally, regionally, globally, in terms of developmental communications campaign around youth, HIV, gender, sexual and reproductive health, and anything sustainable development and young people.
That's a lot. We are screaming hashtag safe behind the screens. And we're talking about online digital gender-based violence. And one of the things that, I'm really interested about is you have quite a huge following on social media. And you posted recently on social media that there is nothing as difficult or embarrassing. I don't know the right words that you used, like someone borrowed money from you and now you have to ask it back, like you need it back. And I saw it, like most people were like retweeting, reposting, and
Yes.
so I was asking, were there emotions behind that post? Did you lend someone money? And
No, but no, actually, most of the time that I post these things, people just think that these are things that are happening to me. But, I have conversations with people in different facets of my life. And most of the time when I have a thought, that hits my mind, I just put it on drafts. So even those little posts that you see, I have my social media team. So I send probably just at once, send them 10, 20 captions, and they post over time.
Okay.
So, you then get to really connect with then the people that are actually affected by those issues. But I get it that most of the time when I post that, people think that it's me that is, facing those issues. But yeah.
Okay. And one thing also is that, you're one person that's very prominent in the social media streets, if I may call them. And have you received backlash? Because you sometimes post very controversial stuff.
Every time it happens every time. What you need to know is that no one will ever agree with you, even when you think that the opinion that you have is the best there is. You realize that even people who know less or who know nothing about the subject that you're talking about, there are people who always want to have something to say. There are people who always also just, spew it, out of nothing. So you realize that when you go on social media, I've had a lot of my clips, being reposted by other, popular social media platforms. And, at some point I just say, what, I don't have time to go and read those comments.
Exactly.
Because, it's a mix sometimes when you think the issue that you are speaking to is very important for society. It's going to help somebody. you will really find that when you get to the comment section, you know, there are people who always are negative.
I mean, who disagrees with the men of God out there? You guys, you need some beating. Okay, so let's get into the gist of the conversation.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to know what role you play as a communications expert, and probably elaborate more on how it speaks to issues of digital gender-based violence.
Yeah, my role in communications mainly is to tell stories, to find ways to communicate in a better way, to, you know, bridge the gap between you know, the people that are, or the institutions that are trying to send a message, and really strategizing to say how can we package that message so that it reaches the right audience, so that it carries outcomes of you know, changing mindsets, making sure that there is increased uptake of, you know, information and products. But when you look at that also, when it's relating then to digital, you know, safety, we are looking at ethical consideration when we are packaging, you know, information. For example, is the consent from the people that we are recording, if we are recording or getting information from. You're also looking at, you know, issues to do with age appropriateness of, you know, information and content that you are creating, and also looking at things that has to do with cultural sensitivity, depending on where you are working. How you push a different message is not how you push, you know, another different message. But you are also, when you're interacting then with communities, especially using social media, you also want to make sure that when they participate in those campaigns, or when they are part of the work that we are doing, we want to make sure that they are safe, not just safe from, you know, any kind of bullying, harassment, or hacking that may happen, but also that they know, you know, how to protect themselves, and they know how to defend themselves as well.
Okay, I think that's profound. And you know, as I was coming here, I was on social media and I came across this page of some prophet. It's actually my first time seeing that. Yeah, and was posting pictures of celebrities and giving them prophecies online, like, this is going to happen to you, this is going to happen to you. Like, do you think that's safe, considering probably there isn't consent involved? Like, you can just take someone's picture online, then you post it, and then you say, you know what, this is what I'm seeing.
I think there are like two sides of this issue. Firstly, I believe that when people in general go into a public space, we can talk about church, but we can talk about everywhere. Whenever you go into a public space and you know that there are going to be cameras there, you are actually consenting to whatever that happens in that environment. So
Controversial.
yeah, so when a prophecy then is being given there, and you are there, or, you know, you are at a party, you know, there are cameras, you are there, you are dancing. Just know that cameras are moving, and if you know, I believe that there are other ways to engage with people that you may need help from, you know, in a private way.
Exactly.
So if someone goes consensually into an environment that they know there are cameras, and you know that activity happens and something is posted, they are a participant in that.
I think we should start signing consent forms anyway in public because I think that's a very controversial issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love the fact that when you mentioned about the work that you're doing, you mentioned something in passing, like my age. Like, we've seen my age on social media doing great things, especially empowering young people. And if you check, the biggest population online is young people.
Yeah.
And we are there because we want to access information, the right information. But if you check on the statistics, it's like 41%, if I'm not mistaken, of young people that have access to the right information, because there's a gap there. You can get information, but being accurate is also another thing altogether. So I want to get to know about how you're working with My Age to empower young people so that they get the right information online and also they maneuver the digital platforms correctly.
So at My Age Zimbabwe, we work with young people. We have programs where, you know, we use social media, we use you know, digital applications to collect data to inform advocacy and research on different health rights and well-being issues that young people you know, face. We also do a lot of work around making sure that those young people that you know, collect that data and that you know, do our social media work, you know, are equipped and are empowered to actually, you know, do that work, handle gadgets, you know, issues to do with passwords, issues, a lot of issues to do with, you know, digital safety, because they are also collecting data, they are also collecting information. You know, some of that information is sensitive, some of that information is you know, is personal and private, and they collect it with consent. You know, of course, at some point people have to fill consent forms when they are collecting that information. At some point they refer young people for services, and that's how then we have then realized you know, the power of you know, digital platforms in terms of improving. You are talking about, you know, the knowledge gaps, you know, around, you know, the issues that we look at among young people. So we make sure also that we co-create with young people messages that are youth-friendly, you know, that are catchy, that will make sure that we increase the knowledge about health, about rights, about responsibilities, about HIV, about gender equality, about opportunities that are there for them. But we also then go ahead to make sure that those young people actually access, you know, access the services as well. Some of the service, you know, physical, some of the services online.
Okay, and we're actually having a debate. I was attending a National Students Conference sometime last week, and we're having a debate on the digital spaces to say, how safe do you think it is? To what extent do you think it has done good than harm? Because recently there was a post circulating on social media where someone was actually saying that if you have unprotected sex with somebody, you can make use of Black Label. You wash your private part with it, and then it will help you, like, you know, the alcohol part of it in it. So it was one of the debates that we're having to say, do you think like the digital space has done like more harm than good, or more good than harm to the young people?
I absolutely believe that you know, there's a lot to social media, just you know, going there. And you realize that I personally think that social media has done, you know, more harm to young people. You might have heard, you know, stories even right now with AI. You know how, you know, there's competition in terms of, you know, creating these platforms. But you would hear stories about, you know, a young person that, you know, even committed suicide. But they were prompting on AI, and even AI was telling them how to, you know, how to do it. And you know, it's a case in the US. We might not have, but there's a lot that is happening right now. I heard that, you know, the young people are starting to do companionship with AI, and you wouldn't know because of the competition that is there in the tech world. If they really, you know, think, you know, a lot about safety, if they think a lot about, you know, ethics as well, and, you know, those cultural dynamics that are there. But you see that there's a lot that we still need to do in terms of digital literacy. If you think when Education 2.0 came, and all young people were asked to have, gadgets. But who are they staying with? Their mothers who are not techno savvy. Their grandmothers who even don't know how to respond to their own WhatsApp messages. So who is guiding, these young people in terms of the information that they actually access online? Are they, mechanism to put filters to your child's gadget? Do you know it? So that you see what information they are consuming, and I believe because of lack of that empowerment, even young people don't know which exact sites to go when they need the correct information. It's just a Google search, and it's there's no control. There's minimum control even with platforms like Google in terms of the sensitivity of information that is there and what young people can access. So that's why there are all those myths and misconceptions that you're actually talking about.
There are actually remedies for everything on social media.
Yeah.
And one of the most important things that we also need to know is, I think the time that we spend on the screen is a lot.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that we are safe and we are protected.
Yeah.
So it gets me to my next question on how do you think we can enhance safety to people that are maneuvering online digitally, and also how best they can probably shield themselves from the online gender-based violence?
The first thing is that catch them young. So as we introduce our kids to gadgets and as they grow up, let's introduce digital safety as a curriculum. But I think we also just need to do more with individuals that are watching at a personal level in terms of just issues with strong passwords. Just issues with strong passwords. There are people that put their date of birth on their passwords. They put their phone numbers on their passwords, and it's not safe. There are people that share very personal information with strangers, for example, and you don't know, and you're chatting with someone on social media that you don't know. There's been a lot of abuse that has been happening. I've had to talk to people who join online dating platforms. So
Tinder.
yeah, when they join those dating platforms, then they meet up with strangers, and then they are violated. Then they are trying to follow through, and they actually get abused, and when they try then to follow through, sometimes they can't even say that I met this person there. And talking about that application, someone sent me a picture of me on Tinder.
Oh.
And I didn't know about Tinder. Actually, I have never been there. I've never we had wanted to date anyone online or anything, and my picture was actually there. So then I had to, the person that reached out to me fortunately was there. So we actually had to find a community of people there to actually report that account. But imagine, if that knowledge that we could report an account. So I think when people know that they're able to say, if there is this issue, we can actually report certain accounts to platforms like Facebook, like Instagram, like X. You can actually report, and someone can actually get blocked. So I think this is some of the information that actually people really need to know, that while you are excited about just going to on digital platforms, there is actually a lot that needs to be done in terms of your security, in terms of the information that you share, in terms of issues to do with locations. That information people should actually know. So there's a lot in terms of keeping people up to speed with issues to do with digital safety.
Lovely. And with the coming in of AI, you can be anywhere at any time doing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's a conversation that we need to have right now, because you find out that many times you find like images of someone doing something that they're not even doing or not even aware of. And it's actually a matter of concern for us to now talk about AI laws, how best we can come together and build and write policies that can help us to navigate the AI system, because it's the new
Yeah.
technology and we can't run away from it.
And we need leaders. We actually need leaders um, who have their facts on their fingertips. We need leaders who actually know, are in touch with what's happening on the ground, but they are also able to, take responsibility, because technology is evolving every
Yeah.
day. A lot is happening. Consumption is happening every day. So we need to update our laws as much as we can. But we also need to, look at our strategy, even at a country level, in terms of, digital safety, issues to do with hacking, issues to do with, harassment online. And we need to have those conversations more. But we don't just need to have conversations. I've seen that these conversations that we are having right now in the country, you see that people who are there just go there because they are popular figures.
Exactly.
But we have technocrats who have the knowledge about digital safety, about what to do with our IT policies, what to do with, our laws, who are also in those global spaces where things are happening. Let's find them. Zimbabwe has them. Let's find them. Let them come. Let them contribute to, to our policies, to our laws, so that we are not left behind. Because the time we are left behind is the time that, people, are being abused, people are being harassed online.
Okay. And it's also good that information is put out there. Someone is saying that, we need the government to have its own servers, what. And we are relying on the United Nations servers for a very long time. Up until right now, we then discovered, no, the government actually now owns its own servers, which is also a good milestone as we talk about the digital era. So I'd like to know, what role do you think collaboration plays, let's say the government, the NGOs, and also some other companies? What role do they play in terms of collaborating to make sure that we end gender-based violence online?
I mean, we need each other. No one knows everything, and no institution has cross-board responsibilities or capacities. So you see that there are people who are technocrats. There are institutions of education, for example. Our universities should be, promoting, research, and exchange and linking and learning, around issues to do with, digital, safety. And we should see more, more research, coming in from the academia. We have our community-based organizations who are in touch with the communities. They should be able to have these conversations, at the level of the community, with community members, around how they can promote safety, but around how they can also, foster a culture of tolerance, a culture of, understanding each other. Just, saying, when you go to social media, know that people are going through a lot. So you are not supposed to go there to add to the problems that, they already have. But you should go there and to, to learn, to teach something, to teach someone something positive, and to spread love and spread positivity, and stop yet, where you see it starting. Then, our community leaders should also be able to call it out, to make sure that they have commitments within their policies, their bylaws, their local laws, in terms of addressing these issues.
And I love the fact that you also touched on the educating part, because
Yeah.
it's very important that we raise awareness.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've also been thinking that we haven't started this conversation now. Like, it's been ongoing. We've been talking about it for a very long time now. Do you think we have done something in that regard? Do you see progress in that regard?
Like I said, that I think we really need to do more. I know that recently the minister of ICT in Zimbabwe had that conversation, and we should have more of those conversations. And like I said, I think we should also have diverse people, experts on the table, to actually discuss those issues. But like I said, the rapidness, that is happening, it's really it's really alarming. So that kind of rapidness in technological advancement should be the rapidness that we should have in terms of our conversations. A lot of things, people are working online right now. Our organizations, institutions have those policies that allow to support that kind of working online. Young people are on social media. The screen time is getting too much. But there are all these psychological challenges also that come with that, and a lot of exposure to a lot of things that then make people vulnerable, make people not be able to communicate with each other well. The decimating of the family values that we used to have, especially in an Africa a setup where then communication with our parents within our communities was able to make sure that we are comfortable in terms of having hard conversations, in terms of if you are abused, you get someone to really talk to about it. Now, people go and ask, AI, and AI, some of these AI tools are not updated. So they don't even have updated information on the laws, that are there in country or in the world. So you wouldn't then know how, everything then is safe online.
Okay. And when we talk about violence, there's always the perpetrator and there's always a victim.
Yes.
And most times you realize that someone is victimized online.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do. They don't know. It's either they exchange words and then they end up, feeling like, what, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
But they feel violated.
Delete their social media platforms.
Yeah. So how do you think we can come together to ensure that victims are supported, they feel heard, and they are also helped?
I think the first thing is that we should promote positive online behavior across board, and we should engage, especially with social media influencers, to be able to push that, they call it agenda, to be able to push that agenda of promoting positive engagement. But I think our laws, we should be able to, in that manner, to popularize our laws as well, so that people know the law, people know, where to report and how to do it, and also people are actually, comfortable doing it. When looking at gender-based violence in a broad sense, we're also saying men are violating women, women are violating men, men are violating each other, women are actually violating, each other. And does our law cover, for a man to actually, go and report when harassed, by a woman? But what is, the mind of the community, around a man being able to just go and say, I was violated online. So I think the approach should be multifaceted in terms of who do we want to reach, what message should we create, what should we push in terms of what's available right now in terms of the law. But that will also then enable us to actually see what are the gaps, within the law, and what do we need to do to actually strengthen it.
Okay, that's great. And I think, these social media influencers that you're talking about, there are people that are at the forefront of sometimes promoting this hate speech on social media. And it's quite alarming because most people look up to them as role models.
Yeah.
But when you actually find out, like, what, my TT is saying this to Madam Boss is saying this to this comic elder or whatever is saying this to whoever. And do you think those people can actually be the people that we put at the forefront of this advocacy?
Yeah, you see, the tricky part is that you realize that I think the most popular, people on social media that we have, especially in this part of of the world, are just people that sometimes just go on social media to rant. There are these also people who are very good entertainers, but you also realize that they are not equipped to actually have serious serious conversations about some of these issues. So now it depends with willingness to actually get on these conversations and getting the right information and being equipped to actually have these conversations, not at a technical level, but they can still use their talent, they can still use their comment, they can still use their skills, they can still use their dances to actually address these issues. I don't think at that level addressing issues just needs someone to really be an expert in the subject matter, but they can do something to make sure that they direct people to the service, they direct people where there's the right information, and I think we can have that conversation. But like what you say, it's unfortunate that we see on social media some of the most popular people that are there, they are actually popular for being violent, for pushing, yet speech, for trolling, people, which is not actually the culture that we really want. We believe that when you actually get more views, you should use those views to impact people in a way that algorithms cannot measure.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. And I'm actually thinking right now as you're speaking to say, social media now is like a place where people are getting their daily bread. It's monetized, and people do it for the likes, they do it for the money. So anything that gives a person money, I think they'll just continue doing it, no matter how much you may try to have this conversation, because they're getting their money from it. I think it's also very much difficult for them to say, what, I'm not going to be doing this at any point. But I bet there are people that are listening right now that would want to be change agents, that would want to actually push this narrative of fighting online gender-based violence. What would be your words to them to help to encourage them and to also help them in the narrative that they are pushing against gender-based violence?
I think I would just say let's be more positive online. Let's get online to build and not destroy others. Let's also get online with the mindset of learning, because we don't know everything. So most of these hate comments come from people, and most of this abuse comes from people who think they know everything, who think who bundle people in one basket, and I just want to say especially to brothers and sisters that have been able to make it online, that make ends meet through social media. There's always a way to actually bring positivity to what you're doing. There's also always a way to respond to people when you feel disrespected. There's no need to actually respond to hate with hate. Then it's hate, then we are hating each other, and we are trolling each other, and we are shouting at each other. So let's be positive online, and let's use our influence to actually spread love.
All right. Thank you so much for that. You deserve to be protected online. I also deserve to be protected online.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and hope 16 days of activism will go well. And thank you guys for the Safe Behind the Screen campaign.
Drum roll.
And thank you to Southern
South
Africa,
Africa
Trust
Yeah.
for bringing this wonderful program.
All right. Thank you so much for coming through. It was difficult interviewing you, but anyways, I think
That's amazing. You were amazing.
TikTok, guys, time is no longer on our side. I'd love to be like on your screens over and over again, but hey, we need to go. So from me, the Dynamite with a capital letter D and the rest of the team, it's goodbye.